Alrighty, game 2 on Death Order again. Gundabadboyz playing Protoss. Chrome playing Zerg. Chrome in the bottom right of the map. I'm really glad to see that this time around Gundabadboyz has decided to actually build a thing. So worker in production straight away. And that, you know, instantly off to a better start. Has decided one worker is enough. Oh God, no. It's hard to see how this is going to go in any way different than the last game, to be honest. That isn't where you put that to build a wall. You need it here. You don't need 2 pylons, especially given that you're not even building the workers, are you? You know, this guy's just waiting, staring at this building. He's going to go in there and lose his minerals, swap it for gas, I suppose. Yeah. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Chrome's gone gas first. It's gas pools, so this looks like another cheese build. Pretty standard, sort of fair to, you know, if you want to just cheeselings, you get the gas down, you transfer the workers into the gas, you mine 100 gas. You can get that mined by the time your pool finishes up so that you can start speed research straight away. However, Gundabadboyz has built a forge this time, and this could save his life if he builds some cannons. What I would have really liked to see Gundabadboyz is the pylon here, the forge here, the worker on the other side of the map, the pylon here, the cannon here, the cannon, the gateway, and then you're bulletproof. Then, you know, the lings can come across the map and they die. Your opponent's natural expansion dies because it hasn't been scouted at all. He hasn't looked around this area even slightly, hasn't thought twice about it because he's so busy building his lings. So there's the speed research. Again, this is all in. Look, you know, there's no intention for a follow-up here. There's no gas being mined. Queen in production. Chrome currently just supply block temporarily there, so that's a bit of an error. It's going to slow down the ling production slightly, but look, here is the full wall off. You know, look how many buildings you've done to do this. Why not do it down here? And then you can just expand. You don't have to worry. But anyway, the biggest beef I have here is that Gundabadboyz is not building workers, and you know, against the ling rush, you don't need this many cannons. You just don't. You know, one would have covered it. Anyway, if lings can't get surface area, you know, they don't do well, and lings nibbling at the edge of a cannon like this just don't do particularly well at all. So all you really need is a cannon behind the wall and the ability to block. And if your opponent is really persistent, you know, and it's going to get through the first building, you just drop another building behind it. And, you know, the cannon will tread so well with the lings. It's just such an inefficient way to play for the Zerg that either they give up or eventually you start cranking out units and you just walk across the map and kill them. Anyway, the side core finishes up and there are zealots being made. Now this zealot is on the inside of the wall and actually can't get out, so can't really serve a purpose, I don't think. There isn't a gap. You know, so ranged units, if you're going to build a complete wall off, are going to be better. Yeah, let's see how this goes. So Chrome still cranking out the lings. Yeah, still not mining any gas, still going for just this absolute all-in ling cheese. So we'll see how it gets on. There's an absolute wall of cannons on the other side of the map, so he's just going to, all of these lings are not really going to achieve anything, I wouldn't have thought. Gundabadboyz has the slight worker advantage. Had he built that wall on the low ground, by now he'd have a natural up mining and he'd be way ahead in worker count. As it is, you know, walling yourself in like this, he's not ahead in worker count. Oh my goodness, there is a hole. Okay, but the zealots plug it perfectly. So yeah, this is, I mean, look how long it takes these lings to, like, they've taken the shields off one cannon. If we just take a quick look at the workers lost tab, 32 lings in exchange for the shields on one cannon. So you know, I shouldn't be too harsh on Gundabadboyz, because well, that's how you deal with somebody that's kind of ling cheesy. You just build a wall and win. Simple as that. You just go, no, you don't get in. Night. I like the inclusion of the Stargate. I'd like him to be building stuff from it. Yeah, so, you know, this wall is over-engineered, and you do need to repower that gateway. Did he lose a pylon or what? I don't maybe. Oh, did he kill his own pylon so that he could get out? Maybe that's what he did. Anyway, now that you can get out, where is the expo? Please build an expo. It could be a bit fiddly here if the Lings actually get past the wall, because if they do, there's nothing to stop them once they're in here. I mean, they'll see off actually, there aren't that many Lings left, are there? No, there aren't. So, yeah, Chrome still producing Lings, because hey, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And what I'd really like to see him producing is workers. I mean, you know, here we are at 6 minutes. You don't have a third. You don't have a saturated natural. You know, what's your plan now? You know, you tried the Lings. They didn't work. Move on. Yeah, so Void Ray, you've built one. You've got 2 Stargates, but you've decided that idle Stargates are going to win you the game. Top tip, they're not. Stargates could well win you the game, but not if they're parked idle. Buildings on their own don't win. So build things, please. Just get on with it and build things. You know your opponent has gone Ling heavy so far. So an Immortal is rubbish against Lings. What I'd much rather have seen out in the Robo facility as an observer to get across the map to see what they're transitioning into, because the Lings just didn't work. You'd be fairly surprised though to see that they've transitioned into more Lings. So he's going to try Benling bust here, and this is where a single sentry would just win the game for you. It looks like Gunda is going to build a second wall down here, right underneath this Overlord. I don't know if it's going to make any difference to Chrome. I don't know if Chrome is going to react to what he's saying here or not. I would just love these Stargates to be doing something. You know, you've built the perfect counter to what your opponent's doing. You've built the wall to keep the Lings out. You've built the Stargates so that you can go across the map. It needs to micro the cannons a bit to focus on the Benlings, but it hasn't done that, and I don't know how much it's going to matter. This stuff isn't going to get into the men. You've got the shield battery and stuff. Might well see off. It could well kill this. You know, what's the point in shooting the Overlord? Nothing. The Overlord isn't killing stuff. So, you know, had these 2 Stargates, whoops, I've just somehow managed to ditch myself onto the desktop. Had these 2 Stargates been busy the whole time since you built them, you would by now have at least 5 Void Rays, possibly 7, and you would have saved that, and all of this stuff would just, you know, it would just be kind of vaguely funny. I don't fully understand why there are yet more Lings in production. You know, just stop it. Look, it workers, you've got mining in the men, and only 13 in the natural. It's 8 minutes in. You're a Zerg, like literally 8 minutes. You should have this entire corner of the map should just be covered in creep. You should have a base here, you should have a base here, and you should be thinking about tier 3 units, not building more Lings. So Lair finally being researched. So many Lings, and no sign here, literally no sign of the Zerg building anything that shoots up. So this Void Ray could literally go across the map and pretty much win the game on its own. Finally a third comes down. Gundabadboyz rebuilding this Nexus on the low ground. I'd love for him to crank out some sentries, you know, because those Lings turn up and just 2 force fields and make a mockery of them. It's just like, there you go, hi. Just laugh at them from the other side of the force fields. Benlings are great at busting through walls, but they can't bust force fields. I'd absolutely love for the 2 Stargates to both be busy. See if I find a queue here. Right. Anyway, more cannons being built. This gateway, still with its Zealot almost built. Never going to get powered up again, is it? I don't know. What am I seeing? Yeah, we've got the 2 robos. I'd love an observer. I'd love you to have an observer on the other side of the map. Nothing really in production here. You've gone for a spire, but you know you're going to be trying to power a spire off. Well, at present, only 2 mining gases. Okay. Yeah. It's a bit messy, isn't it? It's a bit messy. Anyway, I should be more positive. This is, after all, a noob league. I should be much more positive. Has he just recalled? What did he recall? He recalled a worker that was mining gas to his own nexus. I think that's very much a mistake. This overlord's still alive. Don't need me to tell you what's wrong, do you? You really don't. Look at the amount of minerals in the bank here. What the hell? You know what I mean? 3.5 large at the 10-minute mark. And what's in production? Nothing. 2 overlords, you know. Okay, good. How have you managed that with 4,000 minerals when your men was never saturated? I don't know how you even do that. This is that's not what you spend. Anyway, meanwhile, Gundabadboyz isn't building anything either. He's still got this one zealot. Not. He's decided an adept's what he needs. Just. If I have one more adept at the 11-minute mark, that's going to do it. No, it isn't. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do anything. These 2 robos. This robo hasn't built anything since it was created, and neither's this Stargate. I love it. Right, RoboBay comes down. So he could build Colossus, and you know, Colossus against Lings is even more embarrassing than Colossus against Marines. So he should build some Colossus. That would be a lot of fun. The Void Rays, you know, Mutas can do quite well against Void Rays, but luckily Chrome just doesn't have the gas income to build Mutas, you know what I mean? You can build them about 1 at a time. But look, the Muta count, if he keeps the Void Rays at home on their own for long enough, the Muta count will get up to the point where it's just going to kill them. Now, if Chrome pushes into this area at present, he probably doesn't win. This is a lot of Ling and stuff, and that will keep things busy on the ground. But ultimately, if he can kill the stuff, if he kills these Mutalisks, nothing else shoots up, so the Void Rays go uncontested. What I wouldn't give for just 2 sentries, boom. You know, just a neat row of force fields, and you just mock your opponent then. So the Colossus can make a huge difference. It doesn't want to be out the front, it wants to be in the back. This Colossus can do really, really well against the Mutas. Yeah, I mean, if you've got overwhelming numbers of Void Rays, they'll be alright, but Mutas actually do quite well against Voids. The Voids clump, Voids do bonus damage against armoured, Mutas are not armoured, so and the Mutalisks do that kind of weird rebound splash damage, so when the Void Rays are clumped up, they can do quite well. The Oracle, if you activate the beam, can do very well against the Lings, but really you want to use it for tagging. So not sure how this is going to go. Unfortunately, the Colossus is in the front. The Oracle hasn't a clue what's happening. That is so many toasted Lings. We're getting some of the what are they called, thingy-majiggies, corrosive balls getting thrown up by the Ravagers, and that's quite nice. But now that all the Mutas are dead, there's nothing can shoot up. So Gundabadboyz, like, for the second time, you've just annihilated your opponent's enemy, your enemy's army, but you've not gone across the map. Like, to get, you know, go and kill something. You've just absolutely wrecked them. Go. What are you waiting for? You're not going to get a better time to go and kill. You also, like, why, you know, whatever happened to building workers? You're not saturated here in the main, you're not saturated here, you're only on 2 bases at 14 minutes. Build some workers. But didn't the Colossus do well? I mean, that grand fight, you know, an awful lot of dead Lings on the floor, an awful lot of dead Benlings. did very nicely indeed. And of course, once the mutants are out of action, the void rays do bonus damage to things like roaches, because roaches are armored, so you know they gun them down remarkably quickly. In the production tab, literally nothing for Chrome, so you know, I don't know what's going on there. Maybe he hasn't got enough minerals to, no, well, he's got 6,500 minerals, ladies and gentlemen. 6,500. I'm not even joking. You know, I just, given like you're a Zerg, Gundabadboyz hasn't even been on your side of the map. Why aren't there just 6 bases? You know, literally, you've got the minerals right now to just send workers out and go base, 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 base. So just do it. Just do it. And then you've got so many hatcheries, your production is sky high, that, you know, there's just so little in production. I don't really understand what we're waiting for. Gundabadboyz, you've missed your opportunity to go across the map and get some hurt on. You are short of minerals. You don't have a bank, and there's a good reason for that. Your main still isn't saturated. Your natural still isn't saturated. I mean, how do you think that's going to happen? It's not going to happen by magic. You have to build the workers. So please do build the workers. This is mined out. You know, like, just build more stuff. Build more bases. Build the workers. Build the bases. You have... You know, this can be quite a powerful combo. The Colossus on the ground and the Void Rays in the air can be actually pretty badass, but you do need some sort of meat shield. You need some Zealots at the front, or you need some force fields, one of the two. Because you can't be letting this stuff get on top of the Colossus. Colossus do so well against Hydras. Hydras are light, so the Colossus just will shred them with the splash damage, and they will shred the Lings. Roaches fare better against Colossus because they are not light, they are armored. So if you can get the roaches shooting the Colossus, you can do quite well. But the problem you've got is these Void Rays will do bonus damage to the roaches and gun them down super quickly. So as long as you've got something to keep the ground stuff off your Colossus, this army will dominate. It's just not enough, mutants. It's just not enough. You know, because you've never had the gas income to match your mineral income, and that's largely because, well, this is now saturated, but it previously wasn't. You know, these gases aren't taken, and you're still only on 3 bases. So more, please, just more. So a supply block for the Protoss, fleet beacon coming down, but you know, how are you going to afford anything out of a fleet beacon? You just don't have an income. You're mining off 1 base, you know, and even that base you haven't saturated. There's 14 workers mining here, there's 2 mining here, you know, so you've got 16 workers mining minerals total. You start with 12, and you can be up on 16 by the 1 minute mark, and we're 17 minutes in, and you've got the same income as you had after 1 minute. You know, disappointed, quite frankly, disappointed. Yeah, anyway, let's see how this fight is going to go. I just, you know, there isn't enough here for Chrome. You haven't got enough. Let's have a look at the upgrades. So yeah, +1 air and +1 armor and the Colossus range upgrade are all good things. On the ground we've got Zergling speed, and I think that's range for the Hydras. Can't quite remember if that's range or speed for the Hydras. And you've got +1 attack for the air. I don't know, there's carriers in production, and once there's carriers out, this game's pretty much over, but like, I'm gonna really struggle to afford carriers off this just 1 base setup. This is your 1 mining base. Yeah, the key, my number 1 criticism here for the Protoss is that all you've done is stand at home and wait. And that kind of reflects on my number 1 criticism for the Zerg. Given that the Protoss hasn't been on the map at all, and you've now got 8,000 minerals in the bank, why haven't you simply taken every single other base on the map? You know, how are you only on 138 supply at the 19-minute mark, given that your opponent hasn't attacked you once? What's your excuse for that? I'd be interested to hear it. You know what I mean? There's like, what's happening here? Anyway, the mutants come in to kill the workers that aren't in the men. And actually, they could do okay. Oh, please don't pull the whole army back there. Oh, it's ugly. It's really, really ugly. You know, put this oracle to good use. Tag the mutants and keep an eye on them. And actually, flying the mutants back this way is a mistake because you know, you've built a base over here instead of here. You've decided here's where you're going to build. I don't disagree with building a base here, but I think you should have also built in all those other places first. But you know, flying the mutants back over here, you don't want to lead your opponent to your sneaky base, because that'll be bad. Right, if Gundabadboyz gets his stuff together and A clicks across the map, he wins the game. It's as simple as that. There's quite a few Vipers here though, and they could be absolutely devastating. So this is going to depend on whether or not Chrome knows how to use the Vipers. Vipers are a fantastic late game unit. That is a lot of Vipers. I'm not sure I've ever seen that many Vipers in a game. Vipers spellcasters, so you know, Parasitic Bomb can be absolutely devastating against this. But Parasitic Bomb doesn't stack, so you don't really need, generally 3 Vipers is enough. Blinding Cloud can be useful, but there are no ground units here, so it doesn't really won't really affect this. And the Yoik, I can't remember what it's called, Abduct. The Abduct spell can be really powerful here as well. But Gundabadboyz, you know, let's just check the vision of Gundabadboyz. There you go. Literally hasn't been on the map. You know what I mean? Hasn't been on the map at all. This is the furthest he's moved on the entire map. Has no idea what his opponent's doing. Has no clue what's out there. You know, so you'd have to assume 20 minutes in that the Zerg has literally got, what, 12 bases? Sorry, 11. You know, arguably could have taken this one and mined it out before Gundabadboyz would have discovered you. You know what I mean? There's some workers being transferred. Okay, there's Ultralisks in production. I love Ultralisks, they're great. Let's have a look at an Ultralisk. That'll cheer me up a bit. How do I get the, there's, oh, there he is, look at this guy. Properly armoured, gnarly, chunky. I don't know if we've got the Ultralisk upgrades. Oh, it's coming, look, chitinous plating is coming for the Ultralisks, and that's a great thing, but there's no, I don't think there is anyway. There's no evolution chamber on the map, I think, for the Zerg. So that's a real shame, because with the Evo, you could get these Ultras up to like whatever it is, +7 armor or something like that. And then they just become unkillable. But we'll see. The problem he's going to have here is Ultras don't shoot up. So the Ultras can't actually kill most of this stuff. They can kill the Colossus, and they do well against Colossus. Colossus, remember, are good against light. But look, these... I've done it again. Why do I keep dropping to the desktop? I don't quite know what's happening there. I'm back anyway. Yeah, so I don't know. Army supplies, not dissimilar. Chrome maxed out both of these players with big armies, both waiting for something, perhaps a written invitation to go and attack. Not really 100% sure. Gundabadboyz, you know, finally you built a third. Here we go. So this stuff is going to come in. The Colossus are going to die pretty quickly. The Vipers, not 100% sure what they did in that fight other than die. But look, get the rest of your army involved. Maybe it just isn't going to matter. Maybe this half of the Protoss army is just going to crush all this anyway. It might well. You know, the Vipers are great, but they're spellcasters. If you don't cast any spells, they do nothing. So the only thing you had that shot up was a handful of Mutas. Maybe there was some Hydras in the mix, but they would have melted instantly to that many Colossus. And obviously the Ultras don't shoot up. So seriously, Gundabadboyz, if you don't now walk across the map and end this game, I'm actually just going to stop casting it. What the hell? it's kind of a relief in a way. I think I'm going to go and fetch the rusty spoon, and I'll cast the deciding gambit some other time.